Welcome back. Here's the Kovacs report. It's time for a little bit more Batman today. Immortal Legend Batman #2 Elseworld book by Carl Higgins, Matt Groom, Erica D'Urso, and Dan Mora, and many others on the team. So issue 1 was quite interesting. We're going to take a look at issue 2. I'm going to give you my thoughts. There will be spoilers, so do read the book beforehand if you don't want it spoilt. Like the video if you can, and definitely hit subscribe too. I'd really, really appreciate it. Let's get into it. So this is a very different take on Batman. It's a completely unique look at it. Very much in the style of sort of Japanese high-action cartoons. And that's reminiscent throughout the whole book with the style and the announcing of their special moves. And it's okay. Now, the first issue, like I say, was interesting. This is not my favourite Batman, but I'm not going to let that spoil the review or influence it in any way. Because the book itself, if this is your cup of tea, it's actually really good, and the art's lovely. So we start off with the Keystone Lanes beyond the Protectorate space, and there is this very, very, very dilapidated, cheap-looking spaceship that is ferrying people from one place to another. I don't know why. Maybe they're escaping somewhere else, but really, it's pretty much the lowest form of transport you can get. They are not rich people, and they're definitely looking for a new life. Now, the captain of this little ship says, "Listen, we are in a little bit of trouble here, as there are some pirate ships that are trying to board us." And you can see the tendrils come out from the ship so that they can board it. He said, "But don't worry about it. There's a system to this. The pirates come in, we give them some money. I've got some credits right here for this purpose. As long as no one does anything silly, you'll all be safe and they'll be on their way. However, not this time. No, not this time indeed, because there's a new leader of these pirates, and he's decided that he doesn't want any more spare change from his victims. He wants to take the ship itself, break it down into parts, because they'll make a lot more money. And he has a big gang behind him. And he's quite ruthless. You can see those scars on him. His arms are bandaged up. He looks like a bit of a handful." Now, when the captain of this ship says, "Hold on a minute, this is not how things normally go," he's shown the boot, because this is the new way of things, and he better get used to it. Otherwise, is going to be killed. Now, one of the people stand up to say, "Calm, what are you doing? What are you doing? Leave him alone." And also, one of this pirate's lackeys also says, "Hey, should we really be doing this? This isn't the way we normally do it." But just to make his point clear, he kills both of them with his bare hands, just crushes their throats, and they drop to the floor, which terrifies the rest of the passengers here. They're not sure how to react, really. So this pirate boss says, "Listen, I've got an opening. If someone wants to come and work for me, then as you could tell, I'm one employee down, so now's the perfect time." So the other employee of this guy, who seems to be still a little bit shocked at this new regime, says, "Listen, right, rather than kill these people or leave them floating in space, put them in the escape pod and let them get picked up by some freighter that's passing." He says, "Okay, fine by me, but there's only space for 2 people." And the old man, he pipes up and says, "What? There's not enough room for 3." And the other guy says, "Listen, this is your only option. It's better than the other option, right? So you might as well just get used to it." Okay, and he says, "Well, I won't stand for it. This is indignity. I don't want to get in there, squeeze in there." And he says, "Listen, you've got no dignity. You're old, you're weak. Do it or die." So the boss says to this young chap here, who looks like a potential recruit, "What is your name?" He says, "Craig." He says, "Craig, deal with the old man." So Craig, in fear for his life, starts hammering on the old man, beating the living hell out of him. But there's one more passenger there, one more very silent passenger, watching very closely what's going on. And when this big pirate boss says, "What's your name?" He says, "Malone." And of course, Matches Malone is an alias of Bruce Wayne when he goes into disguise and walks the streets of Gotham. So that's Bruce Wayne, right? Now, we go back 3 days and we find a very, very different Alfred here. He's a robot called Pennyworth, and he's having a chat with Bruce Wayne as he's putting on this Matches Malone disguise. Now, he's realized when he's in his Batman costume and he's using the power of the bat. So these powers are kind of like cosmic of some kind. Okay, he realized that he's putting other people in danger. So this time, what he's going to do is he's going to go undercover so that when the moment's right, he can strike, at the leader of this pirate crew that he's heard about. And it could be a surgical strike, and he can minimize the risk of innocent people getting hurt. It's not a great disguise, and Alfred is definitely not convinced, but we also find out something else. Now, Batman hunts shadows. They're these horrible, horrible sort of demonic space creatures, I guess. We don't know much about them at all, and Batman uses the power of the light, as you would expect. Now, Batman says recently these new shadows actually look like him, and it's his fault because of what he did. Now, this whole story, this whole premise of this is that Batman did something in the past and it's had repercussions, and he feels the guilt of it all, and he's trying to sort of rectify that mistake. But these new shadows, they are taking on his form, and strangely enough, he can sense them when they are in his proximity. And Alfred poses that maybe that works both ways. Maybe they can sense you. So maybe you need to think about that. Anyway, he's off on this undercover mission and decides not to take this belt. Now, I'm guessing this belt is maybe the source of his powers or how it activates these special powers he has. But he says, no. He says, if I take this with me, it could be extremely dangerous because I'll let the shadows know. Okay, but he says also when Roger Elliott passed the mantle on to me, because again, if you read the first issue, you would have discovered that Batman became the Batman because the mantle of that Batman gets handed down to worthy people as the old one retires. And he says, I need to prove that I'm worthy of it. So we jump back to now. And the pirates have gone back to their sort of hideout, their homeworld. You can see these ships that are tethered to the ground that they're eventually going to break down for parts and sell them on. And the guy walks him through introducing the lay of the land, let's just say. But it's not as simple as just joining the pirate gang. You've got to prove yourself. There is an initiation rite. And this shadowy man here, the big boss guy, is watching on. And basically, you've got to fight for 5 minutes. And if you're left alive, you're in. And that's what starts happening. They all starts fighting. Now, Bruce doesn't have his powers here, of course, and he puts up a good fight, but he goes down. And while he's down, he's kind of questioning whether he's got it in him to get back up. And we get a flashback to someone who trained him years ago. And it's this universe's version of Lady Shiva. And she's saying, listen, greatness requires an insatiable curiosity focused on only one question. Most will go to their graves never knowing their limits, wondering what they might have become. If you are to break through, every new face you encounter must relight the burning flame. Every new face should ask the question anew, can I beat them? And that's what he does when he's down training. And that's what he does right now. He gets back up. He gets back up and he pummels this dude, absolutely pummels him into the ground. And the boss jumps down and says, well done, and reveals himself as this universe's Bane. He looks kind of scary here with this all sort of flashing green, I don't know what it is, bits going everywhere. Look at those muscles contorting into that sort of huge physique. So he's the Bane of man. But he has something to say to Bruce. He says, but did you really think I wouldn't recognize the techniques taught to us, Bruce? It doesn't matter. I'm glad you came. We both need to know, don't we? Let's find out what the answer is today. So basically, the question is, who would win? So obviously, he's also been trained by Lady Shiva all those years ago. Was he maybe a potential for taking the powers of the Batman and became evil? I don't know. We're not going to find out just yet. But Bruce has a safety measure. It looks like it's a communicator. And he communicates to Alfred. He says, Alfred, you were right. Send me the package now, which is obviously going to be his special gear that gives him the power of the light. And he Batmans out, as you can see. Starts cracking his fists, all sorts of stuff start humming, and there's a big throwdown. The fights are kind of cool. They're dynamic. They're fast. Again, they're very, very sort of high action Japanese cartoon anime style. And they look really cool. You can see they are going for it. Hell for leather. Okay, hell for leather. But Batman isn't winning, and he goes down. Now, one of the Bane's lackeys says, want me to finish him off for you, boss? And this enrages Bane. He says that don't you dare, because this is a grudge match. It's a sort of proving who is better than the other. And he basically eviscerates him, absolutely eviscerates this poor guy. And he just sort of disappears into a pile of blood and flesh. So he says to Batman, come, what else do you have? And Batman leaps in the air and he's about to announce his special bat move. But Bane says no, slams him down on the floor and starts kicking the hell out of him. This is where Batman realizes maybe a full frontal attack isn't the best way here. That's not going to grant him victory. So he pleads to all the other pirates to saying, listen, okay, this might be your only chance because you obviously are not happy with the way things are being run now. This might be your only chance to get rid of this guy and do things your own way, safer way, maybe a better way. And Bane doesn't believe they have the backbone, but that's not true. They stand up and they turn these tethers onto Bane and they sort of pull him down to the ground. Looks really cool. One couple of go on the neck, the hands are down, the legs are down. Batman walks up and does one of his special moves, Bat Charge, which you'll see they always announce their moves in those type of cartoons. And that's what they're doing in this book because it is directly influenced by that. And the creators have stated that's what they want. And it works. It works here. And there's this huge ba-boom. And Bane basically explodes, just explodes into piles of flesh and blood and everything else. And it starts raining down, I guess, bits of Bane on top of Batman. He says, listen to the other pirates. He says, this place is yours again. Now do me a favor. Don't give me a reason to return, meaning do good or I will be back. Now, as we were promised, the Bat family is expanded in this universe, okay? And the other Bat people also have these powers that are handed down to them, the power of the light, the power of the dark. I think Nightwing has the power of switching between both depending on, what the mission is. So Robin and Nightwing are here and they have been corralling this huge, ugly, scary-looking space beast away from the population, and it fires this sort of spear out of its mouth. Now, Nightwing puts up a sort of some kind of like space shield, those sort of projected shields, but it's not strong enough, and it goes through. It goes through the shield and actually hits Robin. It goes through his shield too and takes him down, puts him on the ground. He's bleeding out on the floor. So, good old Nightwing here decides to switch powers from that darker to the other one. It's called Night Spin. And he booms him, becomes the light, swish, you can see a little swish there, and he changes into the costume to reflect which part of the cosmic power that he's using. And he smashes, he doesn't smash the beast. Yes, does he smash the beast? Yes, there he goes. He smashes the beast. Wasn't really clear in those panels. But anyway, he puts the beast down and then he turns to Robin and he goes over and it looks like he heals him. And they decide, listen, we've been putting off long enough. Let's go figure out what's going on with the Batman, because Batman's been acting strange. We learned from the other issues, or rather other issue, that he's not really keeping in contact. He's keeping himself to himself. He's on his mission. He's not quite himself. And it's time that the rest of the Bat family joined in to find out what's going on. So there we go. We've got some more reveals about these shadowy beings that are terrorizing the galaxy. We know that it's Batman's fault that they are doing what they're doing right now. He's connected to them somehow. There is a very, very close history between the two of them. We've been introduced to the other characters. We've seen their powers, and we know that something isn't quite right. So there we go. All in all, it's a fun issue. If you like this kind of Batman story and you like the idea of the cosmic powers and the Tatsunoko, is it Tatsunoko? Tatsunoko, no, they're the people who make Gatchaman. You like this kind of Japanese style in your Western comics, then you're going to be in for a treat. I mean, it's beautifully drawn. The costumes look really cool. Fits the idea and the concept of the book. Bane was surprised to see him this early on and to be dispatched so very quickly as well. But he looked really vicious and really, really cruel. I like the way he looked. Yeah, it's a fun story. Again, I'm not knocking the book. It's not my cup of tea. We all have preferences. I think I like my other Batman sort of interpretations. But again, like I say, it's not a bad book at all. It's a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend it. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts. Do you like this Batman? Do you know what's going on with these shadows? What did Bruce Wayne do? And let me know in the comments. Like the video if you can. Hit subscribe if you can. And hopefully we'll see you in the next one.